Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show, where each week I rank movies in a variety of categories, from franchise and subgenre to directors and actors. No film is left unwatched as I break down my top 5 picks, so join me every Sunday for new episodes and get ready to dive into the world of film with Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show. And this episode is faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and able to rank movies in a single episode. It's time to soar through the cinematic skies of Metropolis as I reveal my top 5 Superman movies. I'll be leaping tall buildings in a single bound, analyzing heroic performances, and exploring the extremely thrilling moments that make these films truly super. From the classic silver screen tales to the modern day blockbusters, I've got it all covered in this episode. It's time to flex my super critic muscles and celebrate the cinematic journey of the Man of Steel. Tune in and join the super fun ranking as I discover which Superman movies soar to new heights and which ones might need a little more Earth's yellow sun. This was the superhero I loved growing up. Not only the Christopher Reeve movies, but also the black and white TV show that existed. I remember watching reruns of that growing up. And, of course, the Lois and Clark TV show I loved as well growing up. Kind of fell off during the Smallville era, but I loved Superman growing up and was excited to finally rewatch all of the Superman movies, including the Zack Snyder verse of movies, and rank them for you today. And I guarantee you, my opinion will be unpopular and controversial. But these are my top 5 favorite. These are my favorite Superman movies. So get ready and buckle up. Starting off with number 5, this is a movie that I did not like when I first watched it. And because I was excited to rewatch all of these movies to see if my opinions of them changed, and did, I'd say, of some of them, I was very surprised that after watching this, I changed my opinion and actually liked it. That's why it is here at number 5. And there could be an argument that this may not actually be a Superman movie, but he is featured in this movie for at least a third of it. And I was really surprised that I enjoyed this movie, and don't like how it came about, but I'm glad I didn't like it. I hate spending a lot of time watching movies that I don't like, which I did during this rewatch. There was a few. But coming in at number 5, my 5th favorite Superman movie is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League, often referred to as the Snyder Cut, is a 2021 superhero film that serves as a director's cut of the 2017 film Justice League. The movie is based on DC Comics characters and is part of the DC Extended Universe. It was directed by Zack Snyder and written by Chris Terrio. The film production history is quite unique, however. Zack Snyder was the original director of Justice League, but had to step away from the project due to a family tragedy. Joss Whedon was brought in to complete the film, but his version faced significant reshoots and edits, resulting in a movie that was different from Snyder's original version. This led to widespread disappointment amongst fans who wanted to see Snyder's complete and intended version. Amidst fan demands for Snyder's original cut, the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut movement gained momentum on social media. In response to the overwhelming demand, Warner Brothers decided to give Zack Snyder the opportunity to create his version of the film. She decided to do in 4:3 aspect ratio for some reason, even though it was going to be released at home. Everybody who has a widescreen TV will watch this with bars on the side because despite Zack Snyder getting this one right, I'm not a big fan. However, this remake was originally planned as a 4-hour miniseries on HBO Max. Zack Snyder's Justice League follows a more complex and darker narrative compared to the 2017 theatrical version. The film delves deeper into the backstories of the main superheroes, including Batman, played by Ben Affleck, who I'm not a fan of, Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot, who I'm not a fan of, Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, who stole my look, The Flash, played by Ezra Miller, problematic, Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher, and Superman, played by Henry Cavill. Not my favorite Superman. The plot revolves around... I do like Henry Cavill, though. The plot revolves around the team of superheroes coming together to combat an impending threat of the powerful villain Steppenwolf. You know, that great band from the 80s. Who aims to collect 3 mother boxes and unleash destruction upon the world on behalf of his master, Darkseid. The Snyder's version of the film explores more significant characters, arcs, and particularly that of Cyborg, giving the story greater emotional depth. Zack Snyder's Justice League was released as a 4-hour movie on HBO Max on March of 2021, fulfilling the fervent desire of fans to see Snyder's version come to fruition. The film received generally positive reviews, with many praising its improved storyline and storytelling, character development, and epic action sequences. It also garnered acclaim for its stunning visuals and its more cohesive connection to the larger DC Extended Universe. In conclusion, Zack Snyder's Justice League is a significant cinematic achievement that showcases the impact of fan enthusiasm and their role in shaping the final presentation of the film. It stands as a testament to the power of dedicating fans, communities, and the ability of filmmakers to bring their original vision to life on screen. This movie, I enjoyed. Surprisingly, I enjoyed it. Tried to watch the black and white version. Didn't really like that, so switched back to the normal. Superman isn't even mentioned until halfway through. He doesn't really do much until the last third. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed... This is possibly the only version of Superman from Zack Snyder that I liked. And I did enjoy, despite the fact I'm not a fan of Gal Gadot, despite the fact I'm not a fan of Ben Affleck, I did enjoy how this all comes together. I didn't have the same problems. I didn't have really much problems with it as I did the original version, which I don't even remember. While watching this version, there's so much of it I didn't even remember from the first. So almost tempted to go back and rewatch that, but not really. But I did enjoy this. That is why it is here at number 5, Zack Snyder's Justice League, as my 5th favorite Superman movie. Moving on to number 4, my 4th favorite Superman movie. This one I enjoyed a lot when it came out. It got negative reviews. Kind of, I think a lot of people had a problem with it. But I liked it when it first came out, and in this rewatch, I liked it a lot less. However, there's the Superman franchise. There's some stinkers. Which you will see, especially after I finish my list and talk about the ones that didn't make the list. But coming in at number 4, one that I still did enjoy and does a lot of things great, and I will talk about the things I didn't like about it. But coming in at number 4, my 4th favorite Superman movie of all time is Superman Returns from 2006. This is a continuation of the original Superman film series that began with Superman the movie in 1978, the Christopher Reeve Superman. This movie was directed by Bryan Singer and stars Brendan Routh as Superman / Clark Kent, Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, which I do not like that actress, Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. I thought he was I enjoyed him as Lex Luthor. I think that fit. I liked his performance as Lex Luthor a lot. I actually kind of wish, who plays his girlfriend? Parker Posey plays his girlfriend, and I think she would have been better as Lois Lane. I would have loved to see Parker Posey as Lois Lane. But regardless, Kevin Spacey is Lex Luthor. The film ignores the events of Superman 3 and Superman 4, Quest for Peace, and serves as a direct sequel to Superman 2. The plot of Superman Returns picks up several years after Superman's disappearance from Earth. The Man of Steel believed that Krypton had been destroyed, embarks on a journey to find remnants of his homeworld. During his absence, his love interest, Lois Lane, has moved on with her life, winning Pulitzer Prize for her editorial of Why the World Doesn't Need Superman. Upon his return, Superman finds that the world has changed in his absence and must once again defend humanity against the machinations of his arch nemesis, Lex Luthor. Luthor, now out of prison, plans to create a new continent using stolen Kryptonian technology, which poses a significant threat to the world. As Superman battles Luthor's diabolical scheme, he also grapples with his feelings for Lois Lane and his place in the world that may no longer need a superhero. The film is notable for its visual effects, action sequences, and its attempts to capture the spirit and style of the original Superman film. Brendan Routh's portrayal of Superman was praised for its homage to Christopher Reeve's iconic performance, and Kevin Spacey's portrayal of Lex Luthor was also well received. Superman Returns received mixed reviews from critics and fans. Some praised its faithfulness to the original Superman films, while others felt that it lacked some impact and excitement. Despite its mixed reception, the film performed reasonably well at the box office, grossing $391 million worldwide. While Superman Returns did not lead to direct sequels, it did contribute to the ongoing legacy of Superman in popular culture. This Superman, very emo Superman in this one. I don't think anybody playing Superman did a good job like Christopher Reeves did. Christopher Reeves was the only actor to really embody the change between Clark Kent and Superman. But I do enjoy this one. There are some great action sequences. The scene where the bullet smashes against his eye was by far the most iconic moment. The son of Superman thing was great. Aside from Lois Lane, her husband in this, played by... he was just in that reality show, James Marsden. Loved him as Richard White, the son of the owner of the paper. I liked him. But yeah, emo Brendan Routh, not a big fan. Really not a big fan of this Lois Lane either. But was still fun. I enjoyed what it did. I liked this movie. I liked it less than when I first saw it, but I still like this movie. So that is why. Coming in at number 4 is Superman Returns from 2006. And it's pretty epic in that one, where he lifts up this landmass of kryptonite, which is what they were trying to do in the Zack Snyder one. I think there's another Superman where they were trying to build Krypton on Earth. Anyway, number 4, Superman Returns. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about Attention all Ray Taylor Show fans! We're excited to announce we've just released a line of exclusive merchandise featuring original artwork inspired by the show. Our high-quality shirts and biodegradable phone cases are a perfect way to show your support for the show and make a great gift for any fan. Plus, with each purchase, you'll be helping us continue to bring you great content. So don't wait. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com now and check out the full collection. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll show your support by grabbing some Ray Taylor Show merchandise today. And now, let's get back to the show. Moving on to my third favorite Superman movie. Now, this top 3, for me, top 3 home runs, I think. My opinion, but that's just me. My third favorite Superman movie of all time is the classic, the original Superman the movie from 1978. This film, released in 1970, directed by Richard Donner. It is considered one of the most iconic and influential superhero films of all time and is credited with revolutionizing the genre. The movie stars Christopher Reeves in the titular role of Superman, and Clark Kent. Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. I thought she's probably my favorite Lois Lane. Gene Hackman as the villainous Lex Luthor. Him and Spacey, both great Lex Luthors. The top, my favorite. But yeah, Gene Hackman, great as Lex Luthor. The film begins on the planet Krypton, where scientist, I should say, Jor-El, played by Marlon Brando, sends his infant son, Kal-El, to Earth in a rocket ship to escape the planet's destruction. Kal-El crash lands in Smallville, Kansas, and is discovered and raised by Jonathan and Martha Kent, played by Glenn Ford and Phyllis Thaxter, who name him Clark. As Clark grows up, he realizes he possesses incredible powers due to the Earth's yellow sun, and realizes his true heritage as the last survivor of Krypton. He adopts the identity of Superman and moves to Metropolis, where he works as a reporter at the Daily Planet alongside intrepid journalist Lois Lane. In Metropolis, Superman becomes a symbol of hope and justice, using his powers to save people and thwart criminals. Meanwhile, the nefarious Lex Luthor hatches a plot to create an earthquake that would destroy much of California's coast, enabling him to buy up newly formed beachfront properties for profit. Very ridiculous premise. Superman must race against time, and in some cases, reverse time, to stop Luthor's evil plan and rescue the innocent civilians in danger. The film is renowned for its groundbreaking special effects, especially during Superman's flying sequences, which were considered groundbreaking for the time. It also features an iconic and memorable musical score composed by John Williams, which has become synonymous with the character of Superman. Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman was widely praised and is considered one of the most definitive interpretations of the character. His transformation from the mild-mannered Clark Kent to the heroic and charismatic Superman captivated audiences worldwide, and in my opinion, the only actor to make Clark Kent seem like a nerd. And I mean, the Zack Snyder ones didn't even try, but I don't think Brandon Routh pulled it off necessarily. Superman the movie was a commercial and critical success upon its release, grossing over $300 million worldwide and receiving numerous accolades, including an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. It spawned 3 direct sequels, Superman 2, Superman 3, and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, with Reeves reprising his role. The film's impact on the superhero genre cannot be overstated, as it set a new standard for how comic book adaptations could be handled on the big screen. Superman the movie remains a beloved classic and continues to be celebrated by fans of all generations for its timeless storytelling and iconic portrayal of the Man of Steel. The only issue I have with this movie is when he rewinds time, he doesn't seem to stop the thing that makes the earthquake happen, yet after he rewinds time, it just doesn't happen. I don't know. There's issues I have with the logistics and logic of that whole thing, of him rewinding time. But other than that, I love this movie. It's great. Superman, my third favorite Superman movie, Superman the movie, from 1978. Moving on to my second favorite Superman movie. This movie has, like other Superman movies, has director's cuts, has other versions of it. I have not seen the director's cut of this version, although I've heard it's better. And maybe that, if I had seen it, maybe it would be at my number 1. I doubt it. But either way, coming in at number 2, my second favorite Superman movie is Superman 2 from 1980. Superman 2 is the sequel to Superman from 1978. The film was directed by Richard Lester, who took over after Richard Donner, the director of the first film, was removed from the project midway through filming. Superman 2 stars Christopher Reeves reprising his role as Superman and Clark Kent, Margot Kidder as Lois Lane, and Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. The story of Superman 2 picks up shortly after the events of the first film. Superman continues to protect the world as its champion while maintaining his civilian identity as Clark Kent at the Daily Planet. Meanwhile, 3 Kryptonian criminals, General Zod, played by Terrence Stamp, Ursa, played by Sarah Douglas, and Non, played by Jack O'Halloran, are inadvertently freed from the Phantom Zone, a dimension where they were imprisoned by Jor-El, played by Marlon Brando, before Krypton's destruction in the first film. Upon their release, the 3 criminals arrive on Earth with newfound superpowers similar to Superman and proceed to wreak havoc and seek dominion over humanity. Superman must confront his powerful trio and prevent them from causing further destruction. In the midst of these events, Superman faces a personal dilemma when he realizes that his love for Lois Lane puts her in danger. To protect her, he decides to renounce his powers and live as a mortal human, which doesn't really make sense. Him giving up his powers doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be able to, like, if he doesn't want her to be in harm, then he should just be Superman, but not do super things. Regardless, he gives up his powers, living as a human. However, this decision provides costly because Zod and his companions take advantage of his vulnerability and conquer the White House, declaring their rule over the world. As the world falls under Zod's tyranny, Lois Lane discovers Clark's secret identity and, a heartbreaking moment, realizes that she fell in love with Superman and not the human Clark Kent. And he, gave up his powers, and that's all she loved anyway. She loved that he was a Superman. Which is kind of heartbreaking. With the stakes higher than ever, Clark must find a way to regain his powers and confront Kryptonian criminals once and for all. Superman 2 received positive reviews from both critics and audiences and is often regarded as one of the best superhero sequels ever made. Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman was once again praised for its authenticity and charm, while the addition of General Zod and his accomplices brought formidable adversaries to challenge the Man of Steel. Over the years, Superman 2 has undergone various revisions and re-releases, with the Richard Donner cut of the film being particularly notable. Richard Donner's cut restores significant portions of the film that were initially shot by Donner before he was replaced by Lester. Fans appreciated the Donner cut for its adherence to the original vision of the film's director. The Superman 2 remains a beloved entry in the Superman film series and a classic superhero film that continues to captivate audiences with its thrilling action sequences, compelling storylines, and iconic portrayal of Superman by Christopher Reeves. This movie's great, but it's not my favorite. This has a lot of great things in it. It still has that little small issue with him giving up his powers, and then, I don't know. I still love this movie, but it's only my second favorite Superman movie. So coming in at number 2, Superman 2 from 1980. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to promote. Are you looking for a way to take your love of The Ray Taylor Show to the next level? Look no further than Inspired Disorder Plus. As a member, you'll get access to a whole host of amazing perks, including the full week of shows, ad-free in both audio and video versions, a live painting archive, early access to the many faces, members-only discounts and deals, a podcast back catalog with over 600 episodes. But that's not all. As a member, you'll get access to my personal blog as well as my creative writing. You'll also get the chance to ask me anything you want. With all of these benefits and more, Inspired Disorder Plus is a must-have for any fan of The Ray Taylor Show. So don't wait. Go sign up now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and start enjoying all of the amazing perks of the membership. And now, let's get back to the show. Moving on to my favorite Superman movie. Now, this is going to be controversial, most likely. However, if it's not controversial, then we're seeing eye to eye on this one. This is by far my favorite Superman movie. And the things that people criticized about this movie are the big reasons I love this movie so much. And also nostalgia. So coming in at number 1, my favorite Superman movie of all time is Superman 3 from 1983. It's the third installment in the Superman series that began with Superman the movie from 1978. The movie was directed by Richard Lester and stars Christopher Reeves reprising his role as Superman and Clark Kent, along with Richard Pryor, who I love in this movie, Annette O'Toole, and Robert Vaughn in supporting roles. In Superman 3, the story takes a more comedic and lighthearted approach compared to its predecessors, and the reason why I love this movie as well. Opens with a Rube Goldberg-esque series of slapstick events on the streets of Metropolis, which I love. Really sets the tone. But also, from the opening of this movie, I haven't watched this movie since childhood. And from the opening, seeing all the wacky shenanigans that happens on Metropolis streets is so great. It brought me right back, and I love it so much. The film focuses on the character of Gus Gorman, who is played by Richard Pryor, who I love in this movie, a down-on-his-luck computer programmer who is hired by a ruthless businessman named Ross Weber, who's kind of the Lex Luthor surrogate in this, played by Robert Vaughn. Webster's intention is to use Gorman's computer expertise to further his own sinister schemes. Meanwhile, Superman is busy saving lives and thwarting criminals as usual. However, when a synthetic form of kryptonite, a green artificial version, accidentally created by Gorman with a element replaced with tar, which is an element in cigarettes, which I enjoyed, finds its way into Superman's possession, this synthetic kryptonite, it has an unexpected effect on the Man of Steel. Instead of weakening him, the synthetic kryptonite alters Superman's personality, turns him into an asshole, and a reckless and selfish version of himself. One of my favorite aspects of this movie is evil Superman. Definitely. Under the influence of the synthetic kryptonite, Superman engages in various humorous and destructive antics, such as straightening the Leaning Tower of Pisa and participating in a barroom brawl. Love it, love it, love it. As the situation escalates, it becomes evident that the synthetic kryptonite is causing the divide between Superman and his alter ego, Clark Kent. Meanwhile, Ross Weber plots to thicken. His plots thicken as he plans to manipulate the world's oil supply for his own gain, threatening global chaos and destruction. Lois Lane, played by Margot Kidder, is also drawn into the intrigue as she investigates the suspicious activities surrounding Webster. In the midst of the chaos, Superman must face the consequences of his altered personality and regain control of himself to stop Ross Weber's evil plans and save the day. I love the fight in the junkyard between evil and good Superman, another aspect of this movie that I love. As always, Superman's sense of justice and selflessness shine through, leading to a climactic showdown with the villains. The supercomputer that merges with Webster's sister was great. Horrific. It was so scary as a kid. Not only that aspect when the computer consumes her and then turns her into an android, but also the evil Superman was very dark and scary as a kid as well. So this movie's got everything, I would say. But that moment where the computer consumes his sister, very scary as a kid. I also loved his love interest in this movie is Lana Lang from Smallville. I love her, that character. I love her as the love interest far more than Lois Lane. And she's great in this movie as well. Superman 3 received mixed reviews from critics upon its release, with some praising its comedic elements. And Richard Pryor's performance, I think he's great. There's so many great scenes with Richard Pryor. Him getting drunk with that security guard in order to get to the one computer that has access to everything is great. Him having to turn the key cards at the same time in order to get Everything with Richard Pryor in this is great, even though logically there's issues. I don't care. I love it. I love it so much. So Richard Pryor's performance, great. While others criticized the departure from the more serious tone of the first two films, I love the comedic. I think this strikes a great balance with comedy and dark tones. The films performed moderately well at the box office, but did not achieve the same level of critical and commercial success as its predecessors. Despite its mixed reception, Superman 3 retains a dedicated fan base and holds a place in the Superman film series. Christopher Reeve's portrayal of both Superman and Clark Kent remains a highlight of the film, and the comedic elements have garnered a cult following over the years. That is what I love to hear. Overall, Superman 3 is remembered as a more lighthearted and comedic entry in the Superman film series, offering a different take on the iconic superhero while still featuring thrilling action scenes and the beloved portrayal of Superman by Christopher Reeve. By far, by a mile, the best Superman is Christopher Reeve's. No other Superman has ever portrayed Clark Kent in the way that Christopher Reeves was able to. Nobody was able to really flesh out the differences between those two characters in the same way that Christopher Reeves was. And this movie has it all. Comedy, action, sci-fi, horror. By far the most complicated Superman / Clark Kent we've seen in any of them. My favorite love interest and a great addition with Richard Pryor, bringing comedy. Love every aspect of this movie and everything it does different. Everything that people criticize about it, I love. And it's, in watching it, I expected this to be low just because I've heard a lot of criticism. And just knowing that it is the funnier version. But in watching it, I was like, I loved all the comedy. I think it all holds up, in my opinion, or at least it took me back to a time where it was all perfect. And I love it. That's why it's here at number 1. My favorite Superman movie of all time is Superman 3 from 1983. Now let's talk about the movies that didn't make it. My dishonorable mentions. Because my top 5, I like all these movies, surprisingly. But the movies that didn't make the list, I didn't really like at all. Man of Steel, Zack Snyder. I really don't like Zack Snyder. The fact that I liked his quote-unquote director's cut of Justice League was pretty mind-blowing to me. But everything else of his, I think he's a horrible storyteller. Man of Steel is basically a remake of Superman 1 and 2, but with a way extended, scene. The beginning of Man of Steel is so much of Krypton and Zod attacking for some reason, but the planet blowing up too. It's very much leans into the alien aspect of Superman more than superhero aspect, where it's alien invading Earth, and then how that moves into another one of the dishonorable mentions, Batman versus Superman, the destruction that was caused with Superman fighting off this alien attack is the reason why Batman wants to kill Superman. Because a building fell on a friend of his who ended up being a terrorist bomber. Superman versus Batman versus Superman is a garbage film. Man of Steel I just didn't like. But Batman versus Superman is a garbage movie. And I watched the director's cut. I didn't like the theatrical cut. I hated it then. Watched the director's cut hoping I would like it more. Still garbage. Gal Gadot, garbage. I don't think she's a good actress. Ben Affleck is not a good actor. The scene where Gal Gadot is stealing, where Wonder Woman's stealing Batman's little hacker device, and she's constantly waiting for him to follow her and looking at him. It's just it is the dumbest scene. So much, just a stupid movie. The whole reason the whole reason everybody hates Superman is just dumb. And a lot of religious tones to to Superman in Zack Snyder stuff. It is clearly wanting Superman to be this religious figure, which I didn't like that either. So Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, both dishonorable mentions. And then Batman 4, Quest for Peace is not good either. Just a very bad movie. It's a bummer to see the Christopher Reeves Superman kind of sink to that level. Especially after 3, which is my favorite. But Superman 4, Quest for Peace, just horrible movie in general. So yeah, let's do my list of the movies I did love, my top 5 one more time, and we'll get out of here. This is my top 5 Superman movies of all time. Starting off with number 5 is the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number 4 is Superman Returns from 2006. Number 3 is Superman the Movie from 1978. Number 2 is Superman 2 from 1981, not the Richard Donner cut. Haven't seen that. Would like to. And my number 1 favorite Superman movie of all time is Superman 3 from 1983. You can challenge me, you can hate me all you want, but that is by far, by a mile, my favorite Superman movie. But I would love to hear how you would rank your favorite superhero movies. Which movies did I not mention do you think are worthy of being at the top of your list? I would love to hear them. Share them with me. But thank you for tuning in to this episode, Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show. I do hope you enjoyed my rankings and analysis of my top 5 Superman movies. I enjoyed analyzing them for you and rewatching all these movies to rank them. Let me know your ranking, please. And don't forget to tune in next Sunday for an all-new episode and join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder if you are watching this episode, as all episodes have a video version. Until next week, see you again for more Top 5. Subscribe to The Ray Taylor Show on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Purchase Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.